My name is Raette, and I am the owner and instructor here at Tipsy Brush in Kalispell, Montana, and where I teach painting classes step by step. And it's a paint and sip environment typically, and I have so many amazing customers, and a lot of my customers have asked me how long it takes to do one of these paintings if I was not teaching, and I really don't know, but probably not too long. And so I thought I would just kind of do a couple of demonstration paintings today just to kind of time it and see exactly how long it takes. I'm going to actually be working on 3 different paintings today, and I chose 3 lake paintings because it's almost summer and everybody's super excited to get on the lake. So the 3 paintings that I'm going to be working on today are, this is called Sunset Lake. Now you can see there's a black smudge in there. Ignore that. This is just the original painting that I work off of while I'm teaching. So that's called Sunset on the Lake. This is Flathead Sunrise. And this is actually a view of Flathead Lake if you were facing east from like lakeside area. And this one is called Lazy Lake. And this one is inspired from a view near Big Arm, Montana. So anyway, so those are the 3 paintings that I'm going to be working on simultaneously, and we'll time it and see how it goes. If you like this video, please like and share, and if I get enough people liking them, then I can keep doing them. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and set these over so I can kind of keep an eye on them while I'm working on them. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of tell you what colors I've got, just in case you're curious. So I've got white, yellow, red, blue, purple, black, and green oxide. The brushes I'm using a long, this is a medium brush, it's a long one, big fat brush, and a detail brush. I've got paper towels and water. That's really all we need. Oh, and of course canvases. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with Lazy Lake. And I gotta work in layers. So I'm gonna get my brush wet first, of course, wipe it off on my cup. I'm gonna start with white on both sides of my brush. And I'm gonna paint just kind of a flattened football shape right here. I know you can't see that, that's normal because it's white. Then I'm gonna take a tiny bit of pale yellow and kind of work that around the light like this. Like that, letting the colors kind of blend together. Okay, then I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow to the mix, make it a little bit brighter yellow. This is, by the way, how I teach too. I just kind of explain what I'm doing as I'm going. And of course we aren't gonna be working this fast in class, but when I'm painting by myself, I usually work pretty quickly, usually on more than 1 painting at a time. This is acrylic paints, by the way. I order all my paint from dickblick.com. Kind of a funny name, but they got pretty good prices and their shipping is super quick. So I'm actually gonna keep going with this yellow, keep adding more yellow to the mix until the yellow takes over. I'm gonna cover the entire upper portion of the canvas, which will be the sky area. And I'm gonna bring that down just a little bit below halfway down the canvas. That way, no matter where I put my mountains, I can have the sky behind it. Okay, and then I'm gonna clean off my brush in the water, wipe it off on the side of my cup. Ew. Then I'm gonna take red, mix it with some white, get kind of a Pepto-Bismol pink. That is going to be the base layer for the lake. And right about here, which if this is the middle of the canvas, I'm gonna go up a little bit higher. Right about here, I'm gonna measure how far down that is from the top with my brush like this. And go to the other side of the canvas, kind of do the same thing. Let me double check that. Yeah, right about there. Put another mark on the other side, and then draw a line to connect the 2 marks. A little bit wavy, I've had a lot of coffee this morning. And I'm just gonna fill in all the way down to the bottom with the pink. Like I said, that's just the base layer for the water. Bring that all the way down. That to mix up a little bit more because I didn't quite mix up enough. For a lot of painters, the most tricky part about learning how to paint is mixing the colors, but I can promise you that it does get a lot easier the more you do it, because your eye gets more sensitive to the colors and it's just easier to mix. I'm gonna work that all the way down to the bottom. Again, the first layer is just about coverage. All we're trying to do is get rid of the dry canvas. Just keep going down. So I have the whole thing covered. Okay, so that's the first layer. I'm gonna set this one aside and let it dry for a little bit. While it's drying, I'm going to start a second painting, which is going to be Flathead Sunrise. Start with a clean brush again. And I'm going to take yellow and white, really light, kind of a light yellow, mayo mustard kind of color. Whoa, my colors are sliding. It happens a lot. Okay. So to get started with this one, right about here, I'm going to put another mark. This is going to be my horizon line. I'm going to use my brush to measure how high that is from the bottom. It's about there. Same here. Bring that all the way across like this, and then start brushing, working my way up like this, just brushing back and forth, nice and big brush strokes. Again, this first layer is just about coverage. Stop it. I don't know if you can hear my dog in the background. And as I move up, I'm going to use a little bit more white so that my pale yellow fades to a really, really light yellow. And I'm pretty much at white right now, so I'm going to just clean off my brush. Let that little area dry for a little bit, and while that's drying, I'm going to clean off my brush and get pale blue. So I'm going to mix up some blue and some white, kind of a light blue color, but I'm not going to completely mix my colors. I'm going to let them be marbly so that when I start painting, I get nice streaks of blue and white. It's a nice kind of darkish light blue. And then keep working my way down with the blue and the white. But as I move down, I'm going to start using more white so that the white kind of takes over the blue. And hopefully by the time I get down to where I left off with the yellow and white, my blue will have faded to white. I'm adding a little bit more blue because I kind of started that a little early, but it kind of doesn't matter. Again, it's just the first layer. First layer is just about blocking in colors. I'm not going to try to completely correct those colors right now because it's pointless, because I'm going to be painting over it again. You're going to see brush strokes. That's normal for the first layer because the paint is really see-through. I work in layers. That's pretty good for the first layer, so I'm just going to clean off, for the first part. Now I'm going to clean off my brush, and I'm going to mix up blue and white. The exact color doesn't matter. I'm going to draw a line right here. For the horizon line, I'm going to fill in below that line with the blue. This is going to be the base layer for my lake. Just keep working my way down. You can see that blue is super transparent. That is totally normal. If I keep brushing, the paint's just going to come off the canvas or start rippling. That's our cue to just stop. Oops, I grabbed a little bit of red. I guess I'll have a little bit of purple in my water down here. Ooh, and there's yellow. That's okay. That's all going to be covered up anyway, so I'm not even worried about that. Kind of get this sky finished. Okay, now I need to let that one dry too. I set that one aside and I'll get my next canvas up. Next canvas kind of starts the same way. So I'm going to clean off my brush again. And I'm going to start with pale yellow. So just mix some yellow and white. And I'm going to start right about here. Again, this is the middle of the canvas. I'm going to drop down a little bit, put a little mark, measure up high, how high that is from the bottom of the canvas. Like that. And connect the two marks. I'm going to start working my way up at the yellow. That's yellow and white mixed together. I'm going to grab a little bit more white. And as I move up, I'm going to use more white again so that my yellow fades to white. Super excited for some nice warm summer sunsets, I'll tell you what. It's been a long winter here in Montana. Okay, so I'm just going to leave off right there. I'm going to clean off my brush. I'm basically starting this painting the same exact way that I started the Flathead Sunrise painting. I've got blue and white on my brush up here. And then I'm going to move my way down the canvas, adding a little bit more white each time until the white completely takes over the blue, which doesn't take too long. And you can see I'm fading to white so that by the time I get down to the yellow, I don't have any more blue in my brush. That's important because I don't want green in this sky. Okay, and my brush is already pretty clean, so I'm just going to grab some more blue and white for the base layer for the lake. I'm going to redraw this line for the horizon. And I don't know if that's straight. I'm going to see if that's straight. Yep, it's straight. Okay, then I'm going to paint below that line all the way down to the bottom with the blue and the white. I don't know if you can hear my dog in the background. Apparently he wants to go outside. So I will have to let him out in just a minute. Oh, Gizmo, stop. Maybe he just wants a little attention. You want to meet my dog? He's kind of famous around here. Okay, that's good for the first layer. Again, it's just about coverage. It's not about having perfect colors. Now I need to let that dry. And hopefully this one's dry. Lazy Lake. Nope, it's not. So I'm gonna have to blow dry it with my hair dryer. It's dry. Oh, do you want me to meet my dog? Come here, Gizmo, come here. Come here. Come. Come here. Oh, this is my dog Gizmo. He's like a wiggly teddy bear. Okay, be free. Okay, so we are starting on our second layer now for Lazy Lake. And I am going to start the same way that I started the first time, with some white. My brushes is a good opportunity to kind of bring that white back. Then I'm going to go to light yellow. And I'll work that around. And then bright yellow. Got a little bit of red in there. That's okay. Just go with it, see what happens. Okay, now's the weird part. This is a part that looks a little strange, but don't worry, it'll all come together on the third layer. So I'm starting with kind of an orange color. Gonna brush my way across the top. Kind of work that down and around the light. More paint. I know, looks a little bit crazy. Everything's gonna be fine. I'm gonna let that dry for a little bit. While it's drying, I'm gonna grab some purple and blue together and kind of start building in some shadows down here at the bottom of the canvas. Color is super see-through, so it looks, oops, need more purple. So it looks kind of weird at first, but it's okay because it always comes together in the end. Trust the process. Okay, that's all I got for the second layer. This will get a third layer and probably a fourth. So that's that one. All right, now we're going back to, let's see which one's dry. Flathead Sunrise. Ugh, it's still not dry. I gotta dry it with a hair dryer. And the second layer for Flathead Sunrise is literally the same as the first. We're just going over it again, building up our colors. Because right now this paint is super see-through. The second layer is going to get rid of a lot of that transparency. I'm starting with the blue and the white again. And just like before, as I move down the canvas, I'm going to start using a little bit more white. Each time I move down, I'll add a little bit more white until the white takes over. Mind you, I'm not going to be speeding this video up, so you will see, I might edit out a couple of times when I'm hair drying, which I will probably edit that comment out as well. But I like to talk when I paint, which I guess makes it easy for me to explain it to my painters that paint with me. You can see I'm fading to white. Seeing things. So there's white. Since I already have blue and white on my brush, I'm going to go ahead and do my second layer down here on the water, which again is just blue and white. That's a little bit lighter than the first time. That was not necessarily intentional, but I'm just gonna go with it. I'm really curious to see how long this actually takes to do 3 paintings at a time. I'm kind of running out of blue, so I'm using a little bit more purple down here, which is fine because there's going to be purple in the water anyways. Okay, and I actually think this yellow section looks pretty good. So I'm not going to do a second layer on that. All right, so we're switching to Sunset on the Lake. Still wet, I need to dry it. Okay, so Sunset on the Lake also needs a second layer, which is exactly the same as the first, and the reason is because the paint is super see-through. So I'm going to take my blue and my white again. Combo, start up here at the top. Looks like I got a little bit of red still on my brush, but I'm okay with that. It's kind of pretty. I'm just going to go with it. And work my way down the canvas with blue and white. And I'm going to start adding a little bit more white as I go again, just like before. So you can see the white has pretty much taken over the blue. I'm going to get all that blue out of my brush, and I'm going to go over this part one more time, which is straight white. And then I'm going to take my blue and white combo again and repaint the lake. Base color for the lake. That's really light. I'm going to add a little bit more blue. Ah, my dog still wants to go outside. Looks like my horizon is slowly getting higher. It's fine. I'm not too worried about that little bump over there because I'm going to paint mountains there, which will cover that up. Oh, Gizmo. He gives up. Second layer looks a lot better. Okay. All right, second layer is done on the third painting. I'm going to switch back to my first painting, Lazy Lake. It looks like it's pretty dry, so I'm going to go ahead and do the third and final layer for the sky. And I'm going to do a technique that I call streaking, because I'm using lots of streaky paint. So I start with the white, then I go to the yellow, pale yellow, go out a little bit further. Lots of paint on the brush. And take the orange. This is going to be pretty bright, I think. Clean off my brush. I'm just going to blend them all together. That paint is still wet, so it should still move nicely. Probably add a little bit more light up here. Maybe even a little bit of pink. Need to bring a little bit more light in this area here, so I'm just going to use a little bit more white. And blend it around. It's going to be a nice soft sunset this time. Then I'm going to kind of go over my lake a little bit, just to kind of get rid of some of the transparency. Boy, that's really red. I'm going to add more white to that. A little bit more pink. And I'll go with the purple and blue again, just to build up the shadows one more time. Okay, that's it for that layer. And let's see, last one. I gotta dry it. All right, so we're going for our third layer on Sunset on the Lake. And I'm gonna take a little bit of white and purple. Oof, that white's really bossy. Get some purple on here. I'm gonna do some streaking of purple up in this area. And then I want some pink. Clean off my brush though, because I might end up in the yellow area. I'm gonna get some pink on my brush, some red and white. Ooh, that's really dark. Okay, I'll tone it down in a minute. Then I'm gonna go back to the blue and white. Yes, Gizmo, I hear you. Poor dog, he just wants to go potty. I'm so mean. Sometimes he just goes out there and sniffs things. I don't know what he wants to do today. Get some more white in here. Okay, so a similar thing, I'm gonna be just kind of blending that in. Hopefully my paint did not have a chance to dry completely yet. Oh, that's pretty, I like it. There's more white down here. Trying to keep the purple away from the yellow. It's pretty. Okay, then I'm going to take some pink. Clean off my brush and get some pale yellow. Just yellow and white. Oh my gosh, Gizmo. You're cray-cray. He's cray-cray. Ooh, got some yellow up in the blue. I didn't want to do that, but that's okay. I can work with that. Just get some more white. Kind of blend it out a little bit. And then blend these guys in. Gizmo, what are you doing? It's kind of pretty. I feel like I need a little bit more white down here. That's gonna take some time to dry because I used a lot of paint. And then just for fun, like, I don't know, let's see what happens if I add a little bit of yellow up in here. Sun-kissed clouds. It's pretty wet. Okay, I'm just gonna let that dry for a little bit because there's not a whole lot more I can do until that dries. And let's see, how are we doing on Lazy Lake? Oh, I gotta do sunset. Flathead sunrise. So, sure it's dry. Yep, it's dry enough. Okay, so we're doing the colors in the sky now, very similar to what we just did. So I'm gonna take some purple with a little bit of white in it, kind of throw it up in here like that. I'm gonna take some pink, kind of do the same thing. That's really dark red. It's okay. There we go. And then I'm gonna take some light blue, so just blue and some white. Kind of blend that in a little bit. A little more white on the brush. I have no idea how long this is taking. Be kind of fun to see actually how long it takes. A little bit more pink up here. I think sometimes the hardest thing to do is stop. Kind of like the way that looks. Okay, and down on the lower part, I'm going to do pretty much the same thing I just did on the painting before this. I'm going to take some red and white. Put some streaks in there. And I'll get some pure white, which I am almost out of. Well, okay, that's not pure white. It's got some blue in it. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm going to take some yellow and white. Okay, I can get a clean yellow and white. Put some on there like this. And see if I can grab a little bit more clean white. Hopefully I didn't pick up green. I might have. Okay, then so apparently my GoPro overheated. So I'm just gonna kind of pick up where I left off before it shut itself off. Yep, I'm gonna switch to the medium brush. I'm still working on Flathead Sunrise. What I wanna do now is add a little bit of highlight to the water. So I'm gonna use light pink to start with. I'm gonna start like this, right along that horizon line. And then I'm going to just kind of create a little highlight. Okay, so since I had to let my GoPro cool off, this had plenty of time to dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the mountains. It's gonna take 2 layers. The first layer is just about building the shape of the mountains. Second layer will be adding the alpenglow to that, which if you have never seen the alpenglow, it's really amazing. Basically, it's some weird thing that happens with light that makes the mountains pink. So let's see, if this is the middle of the canvas, I don't want to start anything in the middle of the canvas. I'm going to start my mountains like that. Repaint this horizon line and bring that down to the horizon line. Super see-through, that's normal. Just gonna let that dry for a little bit. While that's drying, I'm gonna work on some of the mountains in the other paintings. So there's one. Now we're going back to Sunset on the Lake. That's plenty dry too. These mountains are gonna be light blue. So I'm gonna take blue and white and pretty much do the same kind of mountains. These ones, I need to bring them all the way over here because I'm gonna have another mountain range over there. Okay, and I'm gonna bring that down to the horizon line again. Okay, and while that's drying, I'm going to paint some reflections on this water, which will start with light blue. Okay, now I'm going to let that one dry. And get to Lazy Lake. These are going to be very similar to the ones in Flathead Sunrise. I'm going to start with purple mixed with white. This time I'm going to do two mountains that intersect each other. So I'll start with the one that's in the back. Use a little bit more white for that one just because it's further back in space. There's one. Super see-through. It's alright, it's fine, it's gonna be fine. Everything's fine. There's one. And then I'm gonna do the other one. This time I'm gonna add a little bit more purple. And while that's drying, I'm going to start putting in a little bit of highlighting on this water. I'm actually going to start with some orange. So that's just yellow and red. Super transparent. Just kind of warm up the water a little bit. Let that dry for a little bit. And I'm going to come back to Flathead Sunrise. Still pretty wet, but what I can do while I'm waiting, add some more reflections to the water. So now I'm going to add a little bit of light yellow, this yellow and white. I'm trying to be careful not to get that on the blue part. So I'm just trying to keep the highlights on the pink, because I don't want green. And I want this to look like water too, and that's all ripply and this is not. So I'm gonna add probably some light purple, a little bit of blue in the mix, put some streaks out here in the water. Try not to touch the yellow, but it's okay if it touches the blue. So now we have similar texture, similar brush strokes, all of the water. Down here it kind of doesn't matter because that's going to be a lot of this will be covered with trees, but. Okay, now is that dry? I better dry it. Okay, so now I'm going to add the Alpenglow, which is that pink color that we get on the mountains here. Super pretty. Start with light pink. I'm going to start up here, kind of go over the ridge line again. And I'm going to bring that pink down. Okay, then I'm going to go back to my purple with some white in the mix. Start down here, get most of that paint off my brush, and then work it up into the pink. Looks pretty good. I'm going to let that dry for a little bit and then probably touch that up a little. But for now, I'm going to add some light blue to kind of clean up this horizon line a little bit. And then kind of pull some of that light blue down a little bit. That's pretty light. I'm going to get a little bit purple. Okay, I'm gonna give this guy a little minute to dry. Let's see if these other ones are ready. See, this one is not. This one is. Okay, so now we're gonna do a second layer on these mountains. And it's gonna start out the same in that we're using blue with white, just to kind of help with a little bit of the transparency. I'm going to add some snow. Okay. All right, while that's drying, I'm going to add some pinks to the water. And then I sort of want to blend that in a little bit. Put some blues and purples in the water. Okay, I'm going to give that a little bit of time to dry. So I'll switch back over to my Lazy Lake painting. This one should be, and is about ready. I'm gonna put the alpenglow on these mountains. I'm gonna start with this guy back here because he's in the back. Switch to purple again. Okay, switch back to the other one, to the other side. Okay, put some highlights on the water. All the mountains are drying. Okay, so we'll let that dry for a smidge. Let's see which one's ready. Is Flathead Lake or Flathead Sunrise ready? Yeah, this one's ready. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of put a little more paint right here, just because this is a little bit see-through still. That's just purple. That's better. Okay, now we get to paint some trees. So I'm going to take my medium brush, and the first thing I'm going to do is little bit more. Add down to about there. So apparently my camera got too hot again and turned itself off. So I'm picking up where I left off when I heard the beep. Just kind of finishing up this painting with some trees, and then it'll be the foreground. It really doesn't matter how many trees we paint. But we try to do an odd number. Oh no, I haven't decided how many I'm going to do. I think in the original I had 9. I had 5 on this side and 4 on the other, but for this one I'm just going to do, I think I'll probably do the same number actually. But that's pretty tight right there. So instead of actually painting a full 5th tree, I'll just kind of hide one back here. And then to finish this one up, take some black, paint in the foreground. One of the things I like to do with this one, just because it's so dark, is I like to, oh, looks like I need a little bit more tree right here. I like to add a little bit of highlight with some pink. And then while that's still wet, grab a little bit of black and kind of blend that in. That way it's just not so flat looking. And I'm going to say my name because that's it for this one. Okay, Flathead Sunrise. Okay, so that one's done. Alright, I think I'm going to do a little bit on this one because this one's got a few more steps to it than Lazy Lake. I'm going to start with some purple mixed with some black, and I'm gonna paint in a mountain right about there, the horizon in. Actually, since this mountain is so much bigger, I'm going to drop it down a little bit so it looks closer. Okay, now that is so see-through, so obviously need to give that some time to dry. So while that's drying, I'll work on Lazy Lake. And what we're going to do now is paint some islands. So I'm going to take my medium brush. Draw the bottom of the islands first. And do another one on this side. Okay, then to paint the islands, I'm going to start here and just painting some trees. These are just the tree tops, and then I'll fill in. This is just black. Okay, now that's like black on black, so I want to kind of give these trees a little bit of highlights. I'm making more trees. Basically, it's kind of a gray color. It's gonna look weird at first. It's fine. And just go back over it with black. And go back over these ones with black again. This guy needs a shadow. These guys need shadows too. A little bit of orange. water's kind of dirty. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry for a little bit, and I'll come back and finish up the boat. Meanwhile, this guy's ready for a second layer on the mountain. This time I'm gonna use green. To start with. I'm going to take purple, a little bit of black, start down here with that and work it up into the green, kind of blend it. I'm gonna have to let that dry because it's pretty transparent. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the, the horizon line there. And that was blue with some white, which I gotta get from over here because my other white is totally contaminated. I'm just gonna kind of, that's still really light. This would actually be pretty dark because of that shadow. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry for a bit. Hopefully my little sailboat is kind of dry. Yep, it is, yay. Okay, so now I can go back to my detail brush if I can find it. And I'm gonna repaint the sailboat, but I'm gonna use white this time. Put some white on my brush. probably should have let that dry a little bit longer. Okay, I definitely need to let that dry a little bit longer. What I can do in the meantime, a little tiny bit of outlining. And again, have to let that dry. I don't know if that actually helped, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm gonna get a little bit more white and paint that boat. There we go. Yep, that's much better. Okay. So that's that. Lazy Lake. I'm gonna go ahead and sign my name on this one. Ta-da! Lazy Lake. All right. Now, is this guy ready for me? I'm gonna go blow dry this and then we'll put in a dock and a tree and some grasses in the front. Okay, so we're gonna do the dock first. I'm gonna start with some black on my medium brush. And I'm going to draw a line. I gotta put the top on the dock. I think while that's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and paint in some shadows. On the water. And while that's drying, maybe a few more shadows in the water with some purple. And now I'm going to paint a tree. This will be kind of a thin tree. And it's going to be kind of tall. I can go back to my dock and paint the posts. Sticky. Give them little highlights. So my GoPro turned itself off again, so I left off, or I'm picking up where I left off. So I painted the tree, I painted the posts. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of shadowing to this tree here with some black. I don't have to go all the way up the branches because there's going to be a lot of foliage on this tree, a lot of green leaves and stuff. So that's pretty good. And now I get to start painting the leaves, and I'm going to start with dark green and just put on some foliage. Okay, and while that's drying, I'm going to paint in some grasses down below, also with dark green. Really just trying to darken up this lower section to give it kind of a frame. I'll let that dry for a little bit, and while that's drying, I'm going to go back to my tree and do some straight up green on top of the dark green. And while that's drying, I'll go back to the grass. Put some highlights on the grass, which is just straight green. Okay, then the third color is going to be green, yellow, and white. Yeah, do the same thing with the grass. And then I go back over the dark green, or back over the grasses with some dark green, just to kind of tone down some of the highlights so they're not as obvious. That was the last thing that I did. And I'll do the same thing with the tree. A little bit more dark green on it. And I'm going to sign my name. Okay, so 3 paintings done. Sunset on the lake, Flathead sunrise, and lazy lake. So yeah, so I guess that's how long it takes for me to do 3 paintings. And normally what I'll do is I'll kind of finish it by painting the sides black, or you can wrap the colors around the sides. I'll probably just do black since I didn't wrap it as I went, because I wanted to see how fast I could do all 3. And anyways, that's it. So thanks for watching, and I'm curious now to see, after I download this video, exactly how long it took me, because I had a lot of like interruptions with the battery dying and stuff. But if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, or whatever it means. Like my channel. If you want to see more, let me know. That would be awesome. And thanks for joining me. Bye.